That's right. That's right. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. JV Wins, Dogon SS. We
You.
are in the building. Before we get into it, special announcement for the channel. Small time when compared to the rest of the internet, but for us, it's a rather big deal because we have done this purely off of the muscle and just off of the love of creating the content because we enjoy kicking the tires and lighting the fires on these particular topics. But the channel crossed the 1,000 subscriber threshold over the previous week. And
You.
we're very proud of that, man. When we first started streaming in this particular capacity, the current iteration of this channel, we set an initial goal to create a burgeoning 1,000 subscriber community on Conscious Approach on YouTube. And we have been successful in doing so. And of course, we just want to say thank you and the most appreciation to everybody who has felt so inclined to hit that subscribe button.
Yeah,
Your time is valuable. Your currency of hitting that button is valuable. Instagram models and the rest of these weirdo influencers may take that for granted, but I certainly do not because I don't subscribe to everybody. I don't follow everybody. So if I make the effort to hit that button, it's because I feel truly as though I am getting something of value out of the content that I am consuming. And I'm going to choose to believe that anyone else who takes the time to hit the subscribe button on our behalf feels the same way. And so for that, man, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has decided to hit that subscribe button. And look, man, if you don't like what we do here, that's cool too. Ain't no issues, man. No, we are not creating a cult here. We are just giving honest takes and opinions on cultural and societal topics, as
right.
we always did years before we even started doing this in front of a camera. So all we did was migrate what we did privately over here to YouTube because we felt we had something of value to offer to the world. And we'll continue to do so. If you rock with it, by all means, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment. And if you think we are total idiots, morons, broke boys, creeps, incels,
Damn.
what other words? Lames.
Damn.
What's the word I'm trying to think of? Simps, even. Yeah, if you think we are any of those terms and characterizations, by all means, keep it moving. It is perfectly okay. Or if you think we are those things and yet you still hit that subscribe button, we'll take that too. By hook or by crook, we thank you for being here. And from myself, as well as Dogon SS, we do want to sincerely thank everybody who has decided to hit that subscribe button. And if this is your first time catching wind of what we do here on this channel, go ahead and hit it if you have not already done so, man. This is what we do each week. We are live and in effect, whether it is via the live stream or via the individual video uploads. We do it for the love of actual culture, for societal improvement, and we just want to be able to, give some honest takes and just shoot the shit on some of these topics, man. So thank you all very much. With that out of the way, we are going to go ahead and get started. We will dispense with the remainder of the pleasantries, and we will go ahead and get right into it. First topic that we are going to discuss is Mr. Usher Raymond, hot off of the continued success of his Las Vegas residency. Usher made news for me with respect to him starting a content studio in Atlanta, Georgia, by partnering with the Boys and Girls Club. I thought that this was pretty in line with what we have been talking about over the past several weeks on the channel. So anytime that something like this crosses my radar, I'm probably going to bring it up as a topic on the channel to discuss as an instance in which economic improvement is being done the right way, in my opinion, regardless of what you feel about Usher. So this says Usher opens content studio for Atlanta youth at the Boys and Girls Club. Usher is giving back to the place where it all started. The R&B singer, who is currently embarking on his Usher Past, Present, Future tour, credits the Boys and Girls Club for fostering his artistry. For those very reasons, he has kept the volunteer organization close to his heart and has launched the Usher Raymond IV Spark Lab and Entertainment Industry Club in partnership with his nonprofit, New Look, according to Billboard. The new content space celebrated its grand opening at the Joseph B. Whitehead Boys and Girls Club in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm happy that the work that I put in has led me to become an inspiration to so many people. Usher explained to the Atlanta Voice. The most important part of all this starts with a spark, an idea, a concept that says, I can have a definition and an idea of what I found passion in. And that's really what New Look started. But the catch is it had to start somewhere before it became a spark. And what was that? The Boys and Girls Club. The Griot notes that the Usher Raymond IV Spark Lab and Entertainment Industry Club will cater to youth between the ages of 14 and 24 who will be compensated $15 per hour for completing 120 hours of its curriculum, which combines mentorship with professionals. The studio will focus on music production, filmmaking, photography, podcasts, and other creative ideas. The Spark Lab and Entertainment Industry Club is about providing our youth with the tools, confidence, and opportunities they need to turn their dreams into reality. It's an honor to help inspire the next generation of leaders and innovators through after school programs. He added, we are invested in our future, we're invested in youth, and I'm an example. I represent an amazing alumni. David Jernigan, president and CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Atlanta, commented, Usher's Spark Lab will not only be a resource for our club members, but also a space where they can gain hands on experiences. This initiative perfectly aligns with our mission to ignite the unlimited potential of kids and teens by creating safe, inclusive, and engaging environments, empowering them to find their spark and pursue their passions. So, that's Usher's content studio with the Boys and Girls Club in Atlanta. It connects talent with mentorship to foster creative endeavors and ideas to, target kids ages 14, I think it said through 24. So what do you think about this initiative from Mr. Usher Raymond?
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at this. Personally, I would like to, just me personally, I would like to separate Usher from this. I mean, I'm glad he's doing this, but I like the idea of it overall. And the reason why I want to separate it, because I was just and you can go back to our previous Usher videos, man. I always felt like he was a cool dude, low key, out the way, but he's there's some stuff going on with this guy right now. So I would like to separate him from the overall situation in a sense where I like the idea of it, and I think more of it needs to be done. And we need more stuff like this in our communities where there's programs for young people, especially for people that be at the Boys and Girls Club, because for the most part, people that be going to the Boys and Girls Clubs, they be, not all, but they be in some situations, some of them, and it's a good little getaway for them. So for them to have a place for them to actually build and work on themselves, get some type of certification, if you will, and whatever. I like the notion behind that. So I do believe that we need more programs like that. I would like to see some more STEM stuff out
Right,
there. I would like to see more of those things in our community where our young people can get into the sciences with the development of AI, the development of just tech in general, science. I mean, people doing all kinds of stuff right now in those fields. I would like to see our youth get involved with those things. So I guess this is a step in the right direction. So I'm not going to sit here and hate on it and throw ultimate shade. You can't hate on young people learning and developing and growing, and more importantly, staying out of the streets and staying out of trouble. So yeah, man. So on the surface, I love it. I don't have any problem with it. I think that we need more of this in our communities. But those are just my initial thoughts, though. But what about you, sir? What are your thoughts here on Sir Usher Raymond out here, creating stuff for these youngsters for the Boys and Girls Club?
Yeah, I like it as well. I like the symbolism behind it. And I think, like I said at the opening of this topic, I think moving forward, anytime that I come across stuff like this, I'm going to use it on the channel.
Hmm.
as case studies for my belief in what it actually takes to bridge the economic wealth gap,
Hmm.
particularly in the West, as it continues to get wider. It does not continue, it's not shrinking, it's not getting smaller, it's getting wider, because the individuals who have access to the knowledge and information which allows them to be marketplace proof when it comes to the volatility of future economies
Hmm.
represents the smallest percentage amongst us. And the largest percentage amongst us still, in my opinion, are being funneled into the modern day slavery system of working in cubicles, offices, working at desk chairs, being paid a salary with no actual room for growth or improvement. It's a hamster wheel type situation. It leads nowhere. And at the end of the day, when those economies are no longer needed by the future because they've been replaced by technology and automation, a lot of these people are going to be rendered uh, useless. It will be determined that they no longer have value to contribute to future economies. And that's going to affect the greatest percentage amongst us who's still being funneled into the modern day slavery system. And
Hmm.
I am of the belief that the way that you prevent that is you position people in disenfranchised areas, not merely to go to college or to get gainful unemployment, but you position them to learn various skills and acute sciences, which will position them to be marketplace proof in future economies. Now, how marketplace proof in future economies are podcasters and designers and filmmakers going to be, that remains to be seen. That there's a TBD on that. But we do know that the entertainment industry is actively working on various forms of technological automation that is going to render certain creatives useless, which is why these writers and these actors were going back and forth over this strike situation as hard as they were last year. So from that standpoint, are they are people in who might attend the Usher Spark Lab being 100% put in positions to be future proof? Perhaps not necessarily, but it is in a step. But it is a step in the right direction. I would rather some of these youth learn how to fine tune their creative exploits, their podcasting skills, their public speaking skills, learn audio visual technology, learn about filmmaking, learn how to work a camera, learn how to be a videographer. Because while these desk clerk jobs and these office jobs and these executive assistants jobs and these various other salaried positions, marketing professionals, journalist professionals, teachers, social workers, as a lot of these positions slowly but surely get phased out as we usher in these new economies, I think the creators are going to be the last to go. And so, if we position a lot of these kids to learn some of these disciplines and skills, I think they're being set up for success more so than the majority of the population that's being funneled into the university infrastructure of getting a 4 year degree or even an 8 year master's degree or a PhD, even to practice some in some industry or field that is going to be overtaken by technology and automation within the next 10 to 20 years, I would say. So I think this symbolizes that, because the more you get people in these various communities in these positions to learn these skills, the less likely that they will be in adverse positions where they are going to be replaced or otherwise rendered useless by future economies and future markets, because that is what is going to contribute to the wealth gap continuing to get greater and not shrink. And there's more of us that need to be a part of the other side of that chasm. When you're on the side of the more lucrative, money making, valued side of the wealth gap, rather than being on the side where the world is going to cast you by the wayside, because what you can do can simply be done faster, more efficiently, better, and with less things to pay and less resources to dole out for, by having it done by some sort of machine or other form of automation, as opposed to allowing a person to do it. So again, how safe are creatives from the ultimate future landscape? I'm not exactly sure. That's a TBD, but I do think they are safer than the traditional run of the mill 9 to 5er who is going to be excommunicated, eliminated, removed from the picture almost immediately. As soon as all the government regulatory measures figure out the best possible way to tax these various technologies and make money off of these applications, then you will start to see these corporations swiftly move in and get rid of as much labor as possible. And we don't need that happening to a lot of these youth out here who will otherwise have no way to go. And so, if you need to be a podcaster or a filmmaker or a videographer or an AV expert or a cameraman or a camera woman, whatever, to stave that off as much as possible, I say go for it. And I think this represents that. So, from that standpoint, I am in favor of what this symbolizes, irrespective of whatever it is that Usher has going on.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And eh, see, the thing is with this, and um, with everything that you just mentioned, that the world is going in a particular direction. And yes, creatives will still, you know, you can't directly. The day we get an AI generated Joe Rogan, the world's in trouble. And I'm pretty sure these tech companies and stuff. I was working on a AI podcast. I'm sure. I don't know who wants to listen to that, but the people that don't want to listen to that are from our generation.
Yeah.
The younger people are going to be like, what's the difference? Because they're rocking out to AI Playboy Cardi right now. Uh, they don't give a damn. So so these people, and honestly, it's part of their generation. So I think that being in doing this is good, but honestly, this is like no different than building a gym, a rec center. It's hobby stuff at that point. We out here, we podcast, I guess. If people want to call us podcasters. You know what I'm saying? We be out here, you know what I'm saying, slanging that knowledge. At least I would like to say. So, and by the way, like you always say, bro, you know what I'm saying? We do this for the love of the game. We did this behind closed doors anyway. So why not bring it to the internets? All right. But in a saturated market, you got to do it for the love of the game. Okay. And so it's saturated now. So, you can only imagine once these kids hit the streets 5, 6 years, 7 years later, how it's going to look then. So I don't mind them doing this. I don't think this is an overall solution. I think this is a good hobby, a good skill for them to have, confidence builders. It's more in that lane than in the lane of building a career off of it. And I would like to see these kids, even if they're doing this on the side, I would like to see them get into professional fields that are going to be around at least perceivably for the next 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and that's why I was saying, earlier with the STEM stuff and the sciences, because the world, China, Japan, hell, United States, everybody, man, the name of the game right now is tech. And if you're on a cutting edge of tech, if you're on a cutting edge of coding, if you're on a cutting edge of building AI stuff, all right, you're going to be safe for the next 15 to 20 years because that's just the direction the world is moving in. And what I've also noticed is that AI and things like that have already been creeping into the fray when we're dealing with entertainment. Okay, that's why they had to have that whole strike thing going on in Hollywood because they were just AI, introducing AI generated things. So, and if you watch anything on Netflix, okay, you can't tell me AI ain't writing those damn things.
Bro,
It is
it's
brain
crazy.
rot, bro.
As crazy as it seems, I just think those are bad human writing. That's how crazy your question is. Because you know how we always talk about how the quality of everything has just dipped precipitously over
Yeah.
the last couple of generations. I just
Mm.
think quality has a different standard. What used to be bad, what used to be good 10, 15 years ago is like excellent now. and what used to be average 10, 15 years ago is now good.
Hmm.
And what used to be bad 10, 15 years ago is now passable. So
Hmm.
I just think it's a change standard where it just sucks because people just, so we're just not as good as we used to be at anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, it's a lot. It's a lot of brain rot out there. It's just a lot of brain rot. So if these young people are not only doing this to um, just do it, and they're actually trying to, do something. That's great. Actually revolutionize something, or what's the word I want to? Yeah, revolutionize, or create some type of renaissance of some sorts of when it comes to being creative, when it comes to being enlightening. I'm all for that. So, but they need an atmosphere to do it. So this is okay. Okay, so this is all right. I don't have a problem with this, and we need more. We need more of people who are in a position to create things to give people an opportunity to be in position later. So, although I think this is close to a rec center nowadays, um, again, it's keeping these kids out of trouble in the hobbies that's going to self confidence build. Because one thing about me, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to go to the league when I was younger. All right. But while I was playing, just at rec centers, it was great confidence building. Just playing basketball, seeing that I can get better, seeing that I'm getting better than the people that's around me, beating the people that's around me. It's good confidence building, man, and it puts me in a position to be out here kicking game and be a contributing member of society right now. So why not? So have at it. But I would like to see some STEM stuff go down in the same type of fashion.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with all of that 100%. If you ask me, I would rather, because I hear everything you're saying, and it is somewhat of a hobby, but I prefer them going to Boys and Girls Club to learn how to be a photographer or to learn about videography as opposed to just going because it's a glorified daycare until their caregiver comes to pick them up after hanging out there for a few hours after school or something like this. So if they're learning some form of an acute skill that can potentially lead to something fruitful in the future and have them be perceived as valuable, I can't be mad at that. Ask anybody planning a wedding right now. The biggest deal, well, one of the biggest deals is photography. And right now, it's still, despite technology, being a very highly in demand skill set because these people at wedding planners and people getting married and some of these various other large scale events, they take photography seriously and they are willing to pay hand over fist for the type of photographer who has the kind of keen eye and skill that is going to render the images that they want from a quality standpoint. So little things like that to me, I think still to this day are deemed valuable. And if you can curate enough of a name for yourself in the present, you can stave off elimination in the future, or at least that's how I see it. So I'm looking forward to the possibilities that stuff like this can reap. And I hope that it continues in some form. I will also say you're absolutely right when it comes to the tech schools. That to me is the end game. And that's what needs to happen more of. And I mentioned this place before, and I'll bring it up again. When I used to live in Tallahassee, there was a startup hub, one of the first of its kind in the nation that they built right there called Domi Station, and it was a startup hub that gave you access to infrastructure and resources to fine tune whatever it is that you were fine tuning, whether
Mhm.
you were learning how to be a coder, whether you were learning how to be a developer, a graphic designer, whatever the case is. The thing about it is, it wasn't a non for profit, it wasn't a rec center, it wasn't a youth center, it wasn't a boys and girls club. It was something that you had to pay a membership for. And the membership was not cheap, which essentially means that you're eliminating people who need just as much access to those acute sciences as the people who can afford it, but they gain no access because they don't have the financial wherewithal to get inside the building. So the next step is to build something like that that does not require you know, uh, a large sum of money just to be able to have access to the infrastructure. But it is all about the wave. It is all about debugging, coding, programming, information technology, cybersecurity. That's where you need to be, in my opinion, unless you are a pro athlete, an entertainer, or a trust fund baby, or someone who's made his bones as a CEO of some kind of business and it's long standing. If you're coming up in the world and you don't have the benefit of coming up in some sort of an incubator, or you haven't been blessed with genetic gifts that allow you to be a professional athlete or something of this nature, I would highly advise you to get in tune with some of these acute sciences, because that's where the world is going. And you can be an engineer and a doctor and an attorney and a realtor, but at some point, new emerging technologies and economies are in some way, shape, or form going to affect the ability to do those things at the same lucrative level that ones used to do them in previous generations. So I would advise everybody to keep these things in mind, especially young people on the come up, and even older people who can see the forest for the trees and can see what's coming. It's never too late to pivot and shift gears. But for the young people who are the most vulnerable, I think this is at least a step in the right direction, because even though it isn't a tech hub and it isn't creating apps and it isn't Silicon Valley, it can still position some of these people to be able to learn some things that can make them somewhat deemed valuable in future economies. So I can't get too mad at that.
Yeah, I agree, man. So we'll see what happens with this stuff or anything similar to it. I just think that it's good for young people to be doing something and being active, because everybody knows what happens to an idle mind. So if they have something to do with themselves, to keep themselves occupied, to possibly create a career for themselves, yeah, no shade with that. So rock on, young people, and take advantage of it, and make something of yourselves with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Shouts out to the Usher Spark Lab studio, whatever it's called, Usher Spark Lab content. Shouts out to that, and Usher, hopefully you're able to clear your name, sir. Well,
Yeah, good luck with that.
yeah, we'll see what happens, man. But I do think this symbolizes something positive.
Agreed.